right, take it off. Take it off, Harry. That's enough. We're already 20% over your suggested safety limits.
Gotta give it a little more time.
No, that's it. I'm shutting it down.
No, we're almost there. We're almost there.
You're not Breaking Bad, Locutus, all right? I'm disengaging the photon flow.
All right. I don't need it anymore.
You got the names?
The last two remaining bus metas. Janet Petty and Edwin Gauss.
Warstu here with a video on The Flash Season 4 Episode 16, Run Iris Run. We Are The Flash episode that has been highly anticipated, and just like I thought, it was pretty much a filler episode like last week's Flash Time episode. But it was pretty fun with some major plot points that will be used throughout the rest of the season. So the episode was quite heavy Harrison Wells based. I feel like they're setting Harrison Wells up to be a plot in the Thinker storyline. I think what's going to happen is Harrison Wells is going to be mind controlled somehow via the thinking cap that he has made in this episode. So throughout the whole episode, he's trying to make himself better by trying to outsmart the Thinker by making his own thinking cap. So the main narrative of this episode is Iris feels useless. She feels like she's not fearless anymore. So she goes out on the field just like she did before the whole Savitar storyline, but that's kind of a bit weird seeing as she was the one that actually killed Savitar in the end when she shot him in the back. So Harrison Wells makes his own thinking cap to try and outsmart the Thinker, but ultimately I think this could be a good plot point of how they're going to defeat the Thinker, but probably not. So there's a metahuman this week in The Flash Season 4 who can essentially give someone else your DNA, which is pretty cool, and that's how Barry Allen becomes Iris West and how Iris West becomes Barry Allen. And it's pretty interesting. They made Ralph go at Iris West pretty hard, saying you're not putting yourself at danger. And then the scene after she gets powers, which is kind of interesting. What's more interesting is Matthew Melton Point, it was his name. He didn't even know he had this power, which could be quite interesting because if they were to get him to touch Clifford DeVoe, the Thinker, then he could basically just take all the abilities off the Thinker. But I don't think that's going to happen. But if the Thinker does get this ability to be able to touch metas and take powers and switch powers, then it'd be just impossible to defeat. So I don't feel like this this metahuman who can transfer powers is actually going to be very important going forward. So Harrison Wells makes the first kind of his interpretation of the thinking cap, and it sets on fire because he's not thought of all the parameters and all the protocols in order to be able to control it. So I really did like the fact that they were basically flipping the characters on the head. We had Iris West running around Barry Allen just like he did, and he said, yeah, that's fun. The Purple Lightning was pretty cool, and we found out how she got the suit, which wasn't really a suit, it was just her jacket with Violet, who plays Jesse Quick's kind of disguise. But realistically, guys, you could tell it was Iris West, and no one really questioned why she looked just like Joe West's daughter. It was pretty interesting seeing Joe West interact with her daughter as the Flash when she called him the Flash. So they defeated the Fireman, the villain, by essentially creating a tidal wave to put out the firestorm, so to speak. So the villain this week wasn't really useful, but it was useful because this is going to push Iris West into becoming a journalist again. Right at the end of the episode, we get Iris basically saying that she wants to be a journalist, in other words, and there are rumours going around that in episode 21 she's basically going to become a journalist again. So it's good in that sense that Iris is going to be maybe taking a step backwards from being the leader of Team Flash. They get the person who can transfer DNA to give her the powers back, and Iris is like, well, I do like being the Flash. But realistically, Iris was never going to be the Flash for more than one episode. And right at the end, Harrison Wells uses a thinking cap with, well, let's call it a thinking cap because it's his version of it. But I feel like DeVoe actually knows absolutely everything that's going on, and somehow DeVoe is going to hijack this device and he's going to end up mind controlling Harrison Wells. And I feel like that is where this is going. And he discovers the last two names of the meta theme and the bus metas, which is kind of weird because how could like knowing every variation of every possible scenario actually give him information of who was on the bus? I feel like this is very unrealistic unless he was somehow scanning everyone that's ever been on the bus. The thinking cap doesn't turn you into the internet, so I don't know, there's a lot of massive plot points here, but I'm not going to go into that. But overall, it was a pretty decent episode, and in theory, you could say how they are going to defeat the Thinker has been revealed, kind of. There was a Spider-Man 2 reference when Siskel said, haven't you seen Spider-Man 2? Which was kind of funny, because obviously they're trying to infer that Harrison Wells is going to turn into the mad scientist. They're trying to say that Harrison Wells might be turned into the Thinker, and obviously Harrison Wells is a bit of a, well, he's a bit harsh at times. So they're trying to say that he could become like the Thinker 2.0, which was kind of interesting. So guys, let me know in the comment box down below, what do you think of this episode? It's a bit of a shame that now The Flash is off the air for 3 weeks, so it's not back till April the 10th, so we've got some resting time. Episode in 3 weeks, which is where Null comes, which is kind of interesting. Let me know all your comments down below, guys. Did you like Iris as a speedster? I think it was a pretty solid episode, because now it's hinted that Iris is going to become a journalist, and that's the big issue that a lot of people have with Iris, that she's not actually a journalist. Anyway guys, please like, subscribe and comment. We are so close to 10,000 subscribers, which is insane. Hit the bell button down below, because YouTube's been having some issues with videos hitting the sub box even. And I will catch you in another video, guys, very soon. Catch you later.